Time is 10:07. The Sergio Show on Newstalk 710 KURV, hour 2 of the program, and it is made possible by South Texas Buick GMC. And a big thank you as well to Lone Star National Bank. We are in election season, election mode, people. We're about 5 weeks away from early vote. And 2 weeks after that will be election day. We're primary election season. Republicans going to be voting who they want to see on the ballot come November. Democrats doing the same thing. But I'm not going to bother with them. They're a waste of time. Tan locos over there on the Democrat side. I thank God for all the courageous young men and women. Some not so young, but all of them. God bless all of you who have stood up and you put your name on the ballot and you're doing the hard work of campaigning right now and sticking your hand out and getting donations, all those things. Thank you. And we need a lot more. You guys are working for a living. Whatever it is that you do in life, please consider, ask the Lord for guidance on this. Consider donating a season of your life to public service, whether it's at the school board, at county, whatever, state office, running for Congress, like Eric Flores is running for Congress District 34. He's in the studio back, and you can see him on X Live, YouTube Live, 710 KURV, and Facebook too, right? You're doing the Facebook thing live. Eric, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
So you've gotten, so the last time I saw you, you have nailed down some key endorsements. So let's start there.
No, absolutely. Well, first off, Sergio, thanks for having me again, and Happy New Year to all the listeners. You know that our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ blesses with a immense year, blessings, happiness, health, all the above. But absolutely, we're super honored and blessed to have President Donald J. Trump's endorsement for our campaign. We have, as well as Speaker Johnson, the National Border Patrol Council, as well as the Vice Chairwoman of the RPT, the Republican Party of Texas, and of course some other congressmen, as well as the majority whip, which is Congressman Tom Emmer. And so blessed to have those endorsements.
Tell folks who you are, Eric. Your professional background, growing up, where'd you grow up, all those things.
Yeah, so here in a nutshell, Sergio, this is how I kind of introduce myself to folks. Is I've had the distinct honor of serving in uniform for over 10 years as an infantry officer. Served on Operation Guardian Support. So that was the first time that I raised my hand to serve this country. Then I did it again after the service. I served as a federal prosecutor here in the McAllen Division as a criminal AUSA. I did that for a good amount of years. I want to clarify something really up front. That was not a political appointee. That is what they call a career, prosecutor, a career line prosecutor. In those years this was during the time of the failed auto pen Joe Biden era, we still were able to prosecute one of South Texas's largest human smuggling organizations. We locked up Texas's top 10 most wanted child predator. So in a nutshell, Sergio, I am a service member at heart. And that is why a lot of these endorsements came in. You look at President Trump, why did he endorse me? People have asked that question. Well, it's simple. I have lived the America First agenda with service. It's something that lasted much longer than just a couple of months. I did it in the military. I did it in of course, as a prosecutor. I've done it as a municipal judge, counsel to several cities, as well as school boards and other governmental entities. So service is in my heart. That is what matters. Leadership matters. And that's who I am in a nutshell. Grew up in South Texas. I have a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful children.
Have you had a chance to meet the president?
Actually, the first time I met the president was when he came down here to get Governor Abbott's endorsement. I was actually on his detail. A lot of people don't know this, but when dignitaries come down to our area, there is an assigned federal prosecutor. I was actually on his detail from the minute he landed at McCurry. And then, as you recall, we went up to Edinburgh. He fed some of the soldiers there on OLS and met with a lot of DPS personnel. So that was the first time I got to meet, President Trump, and had a great discussion with him. And it was just a great time. And actually, I got to meet one of his Secret Service agents, who is now the head of the Secret Service.
Eric Flores, former federal prosecutor, military veteran. How old are you?
34 years old.
Híjole, está bien chavito. My goodness. We got to wait one more year to run for president.
Yes, sir.
So, is this the first time you run for any office?
Yeah, first time. People say, "Hey, Eric, should we get you psych eval because you're running for office?" And I say, "Look, I'm not a politician. I'm a service member."
Yeah. Well, let's say you go to Washington.
Yes, sir.
What's on the agenda? What's on the to-do list? Like at the very top.
Look, the first thing that we have to do, Sergio, is put South Texas's voice first, right? And how do we do that is by having an effective advocate. I'm a trained advocate. I've had the distinct honor of standing up in the courtroom and saying, Eric Flores on behalf of the United States. And I've delivered justice and I've delivered results for South Texas. So that's the first thing that we need to do is take South Texas's voice up to Washington. Second thing is we need to get President Trump and Speaker Johnson's agenda across. The majority in the House right now is slim, and we need to continue. If we look at the major legislation that was passed in a short period of time, the one big beautiful bill, it helps farmers, it helps veterans, no tax on tips. So we need to get that agenda across the line. We cannot, and we need to prevent, President Trump and Speaker Johnson from, blocking these crazy impeachments after impeachment. We need to move the country forward. Yeah. Yes, that's what we need to do. We need to continue to secure our border. We need to fight for energy independence. We need to get the jobs. We also need to make sure that a lot of the businesses down here have the workforce that they need.
Eric Flores, Republican, running for Congress District 34, Cameron County, that's you. Willacy County, that is you. And of course, the district wiggles a bit further north. Have you done a lot of traversing back and forth? Because the weight of the district is down here.
So it's really there's a big portion down here, Sergio. There's also a big portion up in Nueces County. So big voting block up there. I spend at least 3 days up in Corpus. I spend the other 2 or 3 days down here as well. And the constituents, just speaking to them, they want somebody who's qualified. They want for their voices to be heard in South Texas. And that same tenacity that I served in uniform on Operation Guardian Support on the border, the same tenacity that I locked up those human smugglers and child predators, I'm going to take that same tenacity to Congress and make sure that South Texas's voice is heard.
Representing an area like Brownsville, the port, LNG, SpaceX, all that stuff, do those issues come up when you speak with some of the potential voters out there, or do they share, well, we just want to make sure that police can do their job and Border Patrol can do, or do they ask about like water issues with Mexico? Like, we're parched and we're getting screwed by the Mexican, all those things. Like what comes up when you speak with folks at these town halls and all these meetings that you have?
Look, I'll be honest. One of the first issues that we're hearing is, yes, apprehensions are low with border security. We're at a 50-time year low of apprehensions on the border. And why is that? Is because President Trump effectively is enforcing the laws and allowing Border Patrol and these prosecutors to do their job. But we're going to continue to do that. Right now, of course, now that the illegal aliens coming in, that is low, but we're starting to see a little bit of uptick in the drug trafficking. So we need to continue to support the men and women in Border Patrol, right? I call them the men and women in green. And we need to also support the prosecutors and allow them to do their jobs. And now moving on to, let's look at the ports. You got the Port of Corpus Christi up there, and you got the Port of Brownsville down here. Those are really key, elements to the district, but not only the district, to the state. So we need to continue to keep, number one, those jobs. We need to grow those jobs. We need to grow the growth. You look at the project that LNG has right now, it's north of a $20 million project. It's going to span for the next 10 years. What does that mean for South Texas? That means more jobs. But we need to make sure that we can have those jobs that are here organically. We don't want to be importing those jobs from somewhere else. Because why? We keep those jobs. That means that the money is going to stay here in our community and our local economy will boom.
Eric Flores, Republican, running for Congress District 34 in a crowded field, by the way. I took a look at that's a long list of people running for a District 34. There will be a conversation with some of the candidates. You'll have to help me on the date. What did you say it was January 17th? Yeah. I'll be moderating that event. Sorry, Cameron County. I got the family Cameron County. Serge, you're supposed to know. Yeah, I'll be talking more about that here pretty soon. You can go online and see information on that. So Eric will be there. Other candidates will be there. And we'll have a chance to flesh out all these important issues. Being a representative, if you're blessed to be a representative for us up in D.C., you have to opine on weighty issues. And of late, we got two big ones in the news today. Number one is Venezuela. Your thoughts as a veteran and citizen, observer. What your thoughts on the Venezuela situation?
So let's look at the Venezuela situation. Probably one of the most historic military actions that we have taken. I mean, it was swift, it was precise, it was methodical, and it was deliberate, and it was successful. We took out somebody who is just absolutely atrocious for the Western Hemisphere, right? So I think we need to praise the men and women that were involved in there. If you look at the complexity of it, 150 fixed-wing aircraft to include whether it be Black Hawks, F-22s, F-35s, F-16s, drones, to have coordinated that effort and to have no casualties for the United States military. Impressive. Hats off to President Trump, hats off to Sec War Hegseth, and as well Chairman Kane. I mean, they just did an amazing job and took somebody out that, if you look in the news, the Venezuelans themselves are praising. He lost 2 elections, but yet was there. He was a regime leader, and it needed to go for many of reasons. But as you can see, they themselves are happy that this action took place.
The other big news is the way Immigration Customs Enforcement, and they're conducting raids, are looking, from my understanding, they're always looking for individuals who they have on a list. They have addresses. And I know other individuals who are in the country legally that might be adjacent to the criminal, repeat DWI or sex offender or wife beater, you name it, whatever it is. The ICE is going after the guy that or woman should not be in the country. Other people get rounded up as well. There's an awful pushback in so many of all these leftists showing up. So in Minneapolis, this woman got shot, rabble rouser. I mean, let's call it what it is. All reports say that she was there impeding in the way, trying to prevent ICE from doing their job. She'd just been a thorn in the side all day. Lord knows how many times maybe she had done that before, but she was there as a citizen, just getting in the way and obstructing ICE from doing their jobs. And we see what happened. We see the video. There's a different angle where you see from the other side, from the front of the vehicle. You see the officer. He got hit by the vehicle on the way out. He shot and killed this woman. There's that issue. Your thoughts on that? Because it's an unfolding issue. And the other one is, I bet local mayors and other people have been probably chewing your ear off and saying, well, labor and all these workers and construction and labor in the fields, we need all these people. So your thoughts on, let's touch Minnesota first.
Yeah, let's touch that one first. You have somebody, of course, the leftist media, right, what I call the MSM, they're going to just show a very short clip, right? It's clickbait. But really and truly, that lady had been obstructing ICE raids, right? That is lawful enforcement that they are there. That is why they are there. Right, they're lawfully present in that area. But yet you have somebody who is there obstructing law enforcement operations, right? They gave her lawful commands. If you look in the short video that the MSM is running, the vehicle is perpendicular to the road. What is that indicative of? That she is literally blocking law enforcement operations. They gave her lawful commands, and then she proceeds to weaponize the vehicle. And if you look directly almost at the 11:30, 12 o'clock position of the front of the vehicle, there's an ICE agent there. And that vehicle is then aggressively approaching him. You look at the rules of de-escalation, every single one of the rules of de-escalation was followed. They asked her to leave the vehicle, to leave the scene, to get out. She didn't do that. And ultimately, looking at it, the officer had to defend himself. If not, he was going to get hit. And possibly injured.
Oh, he did get hit.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can see it from the other angle that he got bumped, he got hit, his leg got hit, and that's when.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you had somebody weaponizing the vehicle, and that agent acted in self-defense. From what I have seen, I have actually been involved in investigations like that. It was a good shoot.
Okay, and now the other issue, when no local mayors and county judge, other leadership, they'll be saying, well, the work sites and the raids and all these, pobrecitos, we need the labor for constructing this, that, and the other. And the market is adjusting to the cheap labor that the market was addicted to for the longest time, whether it's in a field or at a construction site. There are adjustments that need to be made. It's wrong for illegals who have been working there, and they're adjusting to that. Anyway, your quick comeback to any mayor that comes up to, well, we've got to do something. We need to let these folks in or something like that. They're making some excuses for it. All the cheap labor we've had all these years.
So let's just back up a little bit. Going back to raid, Sergio, is, this again is a response to the auto pen failed Biden administration of allowing 24 million illegal aliens into this country. No questions asked. We're letting in possibly the next suitcase nuke. We're letting in murders. We're letting in, all these people that have committed heinous crimes. No questions asked. They were allowed in. Then we have the failed Title 42, all which I call, conduit of chaos. This administration has done a good job of responding to that. Now, going back to some of those questions about, the workforce, we already have champions like Congresswoman De La Cruz, who is championing the next Bracero Program 2.0. Mm-hmm. The administration is aware we need that workforce, but we want to give those farmers, those folks that are building homes, we want to give them the ability to dictate their seasonal workers. And that's what that Bracero Program 2.0 is going to do. I have full faith in President Trump and Speaker Johnson, as well as the Republican caucus, to get us something that is going to get us the workforce that we need, but to make sure that everybody is documented the right way.
You want things done right, you got to tell your friends and family to stop voting stupidly. As I say it, that's just me saying it. Stop voting Democrat. We have Republicans that are running for office representing South Texas. Final thought from you, calendar events, anything that you want to mention?
Yeah, we got a couple of calendar events, some events that'll be happening up in Corpus, up around the 15th. So, stay a look. If anybody's up there in Nueces County during that area, we'd love to have you come meet the new Trump-endorsed candidate for District 34, Speaker Johnson endorsed, Majority Whip Tom Emmer endorsed, and most importantly, to have the endorsement of the National Border Patrol Council. I've been in the trench with them. I've had their back. As a prosecutor, I'm going to have their back in D.C. again. And most importantly, we have a debate coming up January 17th. As you know, you'll be moderating. We'll have the best of the best there. So thanks for doing that. But, go ask those hard questions. What you see on social media a lot of times is just, it's clickbait. So ask those hard questions. Find me on social media. I've started a segment myself, Sit Reps with Eric. Ask me those questions. I'd love to meet with those voters and answer their questions.
Well, it's going to be either yours truly moderating or Tony Farina. Tony Farina charged $300. I said, just give me some Church's fried chicken and I'll be fine. Just give me a corn cob. Good to see you, Eric.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for stopping by. Come back and see us. We need to have plenty of conversations between here, early vote, and election day.
Absolutely.
And thank you for running. I say that to every single candidate that's courageous enough to take a season out of their life to get in there, get in the fight.
Absolutely. We're in a crucial time, and we need to ensure that the country, as well as South Texas, head in the right direction. And as you said, we need to not only win the primary, but most importantly, it doesn't matter if you win 10 primaries. You got to go win the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl is in the general, and that is to unseat Vicente Gonzalez.
Yeah. Don't be like the Cowboys. This time, actually get in the fight and get in the Super Bowl. Run for office, people, whether it's local or national. Eric Flores, thanks for stopping by.
Absolutely, Sergio. Thanks for having me.
Republican candidate for Congress District 34, Eric Flores. This is the Sergio Show on Newstalk 710 KURV, made possible this hour by South Texas Buick GMC and Lone Star National Bank.